wonderful hostess, Aguma Ote. I don't know why all of you are here, but I know why I'm here. I'm here because Aguma bullied me to come here. She didn't give me a choice. She pestered me and harassed me to the point where I decided that it was easier to attend and do her bidding than to incur her wrath. So as those who know her very well know that the fear of a woman is the beginning of wisdom. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll just make a few comments, and because I want the discussions proper to commence. You know, the thing I like about this particular event is the introduction of the word leadership. Because I think Africa's biggest problem has been a failure of leadership. What separates Africa from many other continents is not colonialism, because they had that in Asia as well. Even within Africa, what separates some countries like Rwanda is leadership. And I think leadership failure has been Africa's portion. And I know that the focus here is on Nigeria, but I want us to really ask ourselves, because people in this room are part of what I was called the top 1% of Nigerians, in almost all respects, definitely in terms of income and other things. So what is it that we need to do to ensure that we have good leadership? Please, if you notice, I'm talking broadly. I didn't say leadership only in National Rock. I'm talking about leadership across the entire spectrum. What makes some countries in Europe function, what makes some in Asia function, is good leaders at various levels. In China, you cannot appear at the very top unless you have been a good leader, a proven leader at various levels earlier. In Nigeria, somebody who has been a failure all his life will suddenly find himself being uplifted and given a leadership position that he barely understands. Now, we can excuse the days of the military, and I actually love the fact that there are several past very senior military rulers, including some who are the head of state, who actually confess that the problem they see is that it was about 5-10 years after they were in their highest position of authority that they now actually became ready to be leaders. So they were thrust into a position of leadership at the time when they knew little or nothing and were not even remotely prepared. Now, if you can blame the military for that, but since the return of democracy, the leadership that we get at all levels is in the hands of the Nigerian people. So we must take responsibility. If in my LGA there's poor leadership, I must be partly responsible, because part of my contribution to Nigeria is supposed to help to ensure that we get good leadership at all levels. So ladies and gentlemen, I will just stop there and talk. So what have I said? There's a leadership challenge. I think the only thing that this conference ends up doing is helping us to make significant progress, building a consensus in our thoughts as to how or what we have to do to get the right kind of leadership. And for the avoidance of doubt, even what our woman has done today is one way of showing leadership. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I believe in speaking the truth all the time. So you're quoting me in 2012. You can quote me in 2025, the issues will not change. I'm not one of those people when you're out of government, you fight against fuel subsidy. When you're in government, you advocate fuel subsidy. That's part of Nigeria's and Africa's problem. People take positions not based on the truth, but based on what a personal agenda they are pursuing. So I'll be the first one to give credit to this government for removing the fuel subsidy, which some of us started calling for from the very first economic summit over 30 years ago. But the same president must take the blame for sabotaging the efforts to remove the fuel subsidy in the past, in 2012. The speeches are there. So, but you know, they say it's the best time to have planted a tree was 25 years ago. The second best time is now. So let's focus on the now. The important thing is that the government has done the correct thing in terms of removing an unaffordable subsidy. The same government has done the correct thing which has been done before to give us what I will consider to be largely market-determined exchange rates, which gives you some exchange rate stability. So you asked me what would I have done differently. That question shows that, so I think anybody with the right brain on his head would have done those two things. But guess what? How long does it take to do those things? I can mention previous central bank governors. On a particular day, Abdul Qadir Ahmed moved the exchange rate from 1 to 1 to 4 to 1. There was market-determined exchange rates. On the different day, the exchange rate moved from 8 to 1 to 18 to 1, and we had equilibrium. Under past CBN governors like my friend here, we had market-determined exchange rates largely. So that's a one-day action. You bite the bullets on the first day. What differentiates you thereafter is your subsequent actions. So those measures improve fiscal balance. They give all three tiers of government so much more revenue. And that's where the problem starts. What is the point of giving the thief more revenue if he's only going to steal it? So across all the local governments of Nigeria, across every state government and at the federal level, the real test is what is being done with that revenue in their hands. Is that revenue supposed to be used to fuel 400 cars to escort the president to the airport and burn all the revenue in the process? Is that what you did it for? Let me tell you what the correct thing was. The real difficulty, the real action, the real result was to help to eliminate poverty, was to get the economy functioning. As soon as you did those two things, which could be done, each of them, it takes a day, an announcement. It's your subsequent actions. When the economic summit turned 25 years, I was in this same room. I recommended that the government then should remove fuel subsidy. I also said, but as soon as you do it, the following day, even the day before, start distributing cash to the poorest Nigerians. They all have means. The national ID card is a payment-enabled instrument. If you gave every poor person in Nigeria, poor adult, 5,000 naira, and you remove subsidy, for a man who was getting zero, he's just received 5,000. So, but if you remove the subsidy, the finance minister is right. They gave, I think it was 8 million people have received transfers. What is 8 million out of 230 million? That's where the problem is. There are countries where when they did their cash transfers, it was to all the poor people in the country immediately. So I'm answering your question only, what should have been done differently? I'm not saying it's achievable in 24 hours, but these are the things that have caused the pain. And all this talk about, oh, after the pain comes the gain. It is true if after the pain, you carry out all the other supporting reforms to improve efficiency, improve government spending. People talked about trying to implement, to eliminate wastage and so on. But if after the pain, what you do is to continue reckless spending that is going on all over the nation, then that pain can go on forever. So it's not true that gain follows pain. Gain follows pain only if you are doing the right things after putting the pain in place. And it's the same too with exchange rate. So now, we have an economic system. I'll be fair. This economy works very well for people who are friends of the government because they can invest, and when the obstacles come, they have the clout to negotiate their way through all those obstacles. But we want an economy where you don't need to know the government to invest here and do business. Now, I'm not criticizing this government. This was the challenge that any and every government that took those measures was supposed to address immediately after. So I can clap for you for market-determined exchange rates. I can clap for you for removing fuel subsidy. Those are one-day actions. If you want me to keep on clapping for you, show me the rest of your actions after those two things. Because those are the things that make the big difference between investor confidence, creating an environment where people feel they can invest, you're looking after the poor, and all the supportive things that were required. So I will just stop there, but let me just warn you, Mr. Moderator. So on this panel, I'm the oldest person. So it doesn't matter what you ask me, I will answer what I want to answer. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, sir. I will let you. Let me come to this side then. Thank you, Mr. Atedo, Peterside. I have great respect.